All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I want to discuss two issues that are often discussed right now with the stock market. The first is the frothy valuations, okay? And the second is inflation transitory or is inflation here to stay, and how high will it get, okay? And the thought that dovetails with that is, okay, if that's the case, how does one invest in an inflationary period? What steps can you take in your portfolio, in your life to address that? So let's just start with the valuation here. Right now, this is on multiple here. The current S&P 500 PE ratio is 34.78. So you can see it. It's you can see how high it was here. This is in 2000. It's right up there, very close to that. Just to give you a sense of perspective, the mean is 15.95. The median is 14.86. So even if you boosted that up to 18 or 20, right, you're still at 34. So you're still at a very high valuation. We can look at the Shiller PE ratio, which is created by Robert Shiller. And, you can see that that's also quite high. You have it at 38.51. The mean there is 16.85. Median 15.85. Its max was December of 1999 at 44. So it's not too far away from the max number in 1999. And we all know what happened then, right? And just so a little information here, the Shiller PE is a price to earnings ratio, is based on average inflation adjusted earnings from the previous 10 years, known as the cyclically adjusted PE ratio. So both of these are high, and we can look at it just another valuation. Price S&P price to book value, and we are at 4.75. It looks like. Yep, mean is 2.89, median is 2.78. The max is 5.06, and we're not too far away from that at 4.75. So you see we're getting into this territory here, this really high valuations in the American stock market. And we can just look at one more here. This is the Buffett indicator. Let's see. Which is a ratio of the total United States stock market valuation to GDP. So it's the U.S. market value divided by annualized GDP. Right now it's showing at 243%. It says by our calculation that is currently 95% above the historical average, suggesting that the market is strongly overvalued. Okay. So basically, the way that a market can correct this is either earnings need to rise tremendously to catch up, or a market correction, a market crash, a pullback, however you want to describe it, is going to happen at some point. Whether it might be 3 years from now. But this song and dance might go on for, we might go to Dow 40,000. Who knows? But generally, at some point, valuations do matter. At some point, it can be irrational for a long period of time, but at a certain point, rationality and things generally revert to the mean or median. So that's the first point. And then the second point is inflation here in America, and is it here to stay? So the Fed is saying it's essentially transitory, but what I like to call, and I can't be too snotty here because I'm on YouTube right now myself, but what I like to call the YouTube economists are unanimous in their sensibility that hyperinflation is on its way, that massive inflation is just around the corner. Maybe they'll be right. Who knows? But even if there's just elevated inflation, how can you as an individual investor play this? What changes can you make? How can you allocate your own capital to address this? Remember, I'm not a global macro economist. I'm not Nouriel Roubini. I'm not Mohamed El-Arian. I'm not someone looking at macro. I'm looking at, I have a big pile of capital, and what's the best place to place that capital? And so that's what I do with this channel here is I show you what I'm doing. And maybe that's instructive, maybe it's not. But a thought that I had is purchasing Russian stocks as an antidote to both the valuation issue in America and the inflation issue in America. So let's just discuss generally in inflationary times, people do a couple things. They buy gold, silver, nickel, diamonds, other precious metals. So that's a pathway that some people take. Other people buy land. So any kind of real assets, right? So you can buy land. You can even buy land with debt, which is even better. Because in an inflationary period, if you look at Weimar Germany, those who had debt, the debt stayed the same. The value of the land went up, sort of wiping out the debt. So you can buy real estate with debt as a way also to play it. You can buy timber, which you can say is an extension of land, right? So you can buy tips, which are a form of bonds that track inflation. So there's just, these are just some general answers. If you just type in, and you can go down the rabbit hole here if you want, how to invest in inflation. Here's a Buffett video, 4 best investments for high inflation. You have Bill Ackman, billionaire investor, how to profit from inflation. You have Dave Ramsey, is hyperinflation around the corner, inflation and investing. So there you go. So, there's just a couple. So you're going to look at, gold, silver, artwork, precious metals, commodities, any kind of commodity is what people are going to look at. So let's now go to an iShares fund. And I own this fund. And I mentioned, I own Gazprom on Bank the other day. And so I just showed you that the S&P 500 stock market is overvalued from the P ratio, from the Shiller PE to the Buffett indicator to the price to book. You could just run different metric after metric. Well, this is a ETF holding Russian stocks. So right now, its price to earnings is 14.66. So it's less than half of what the American stock market is. So that's addressing the valuation issue of allocating capital. And then the second thing that's interesting, I'm not necessarily saying that you should do this or that it will work in inflation. It's just the way my mind is working here, right? So, if you're doing this in the American stock market, you're going to buy GLD, which is gold. You're going to buy SLV, which is silver. You're going to buy the Gladstone Land, LAND. I don't know if there's an ETF for nickel, but you're going to look at other precious metals. You may look at VNQ for real estate. You're just going to look at different ETFs or different funds. I think the other one that would be the timber one is Catchmark. CTT is another you might want to look at. Some people don't even believe in that, and they'll just say, I actually want to buy actual land. I want to hoard gold, silver, diamonds in my house and artwork. I don't even want these, what they would call paper, okay? But if you're looking to play it here in the stock market, let's take a look at the holdings of ERUS. So here you go, commodities. Like I mentioned, energy, Gazprom, one of the biggest energy companies in the world, oil and gas. So the second one, Bank there. Third one, Luke Oil. Then you go Yandex, which is a tech company. The next one, again, you're going Novatech Energy. The one after that, Norilsk Nickel. So again, instead of buying an ETF, let's say there's an ETF for nickel, or an ETF for oil and gas, you're buying individual companies at a lot less valuation than you would find in the American stock market or American companies right now. So then you're going to go down, you're going to find financials, then you're going back to energy. You're going Tatneft. You're going Rosneft. Rosneft is run by, I believe, Igor Sechin, a close friend of Vladimir Putin. Then where are you going? Poly US, one of the top 10 gold mines in the world. So instead of buying GLD, maybe you buy Poly US, which is a company that's producing gold as opposed to just gold itself. Polymetal, let's see where that is. We have down here, we have Alrosa. I'll just scroll down a little bit here. So Alrosa is diamond mines. So again, instead of buying a bunch of diamonds and gold and silver and hiding it in your house in your backyard, you can buy companies that are producing things. A lot of these commodity companies are in Russia, and they're a lot cheaper. So we're going to go to Poly US, is the gold mining company. Top 10 gold mining companies globally by output. This is going to be on here. This is down the list here. Severstal Steel, again, commodity mining company. So I'm going to come back here. So Polymetal, Alrosa, Severstal, which I just showed. So this is interesting to me, and I want you guys to give me your thoughts here on the investing in E-Rus as an antidote to the two major stock market issues of the day: high valuations in the S&P 500 and across the stock market, and inflation. Is it coming? How bad is it going to be? And if so, how to play it? So that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Let me know your thoughts on E-Rus, the iShares Russia ETF. Please subscribe and like. The channel is growing. Just invested in some lighting here, which you can see, doing some better thumbnails. So kind of getting, having fun with this YouTube thing. So take care. Ciao.